All right, guys, welcome. Um, so we'll start first with Nick. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Hi. Hello. My name is Nicholas Rose. I'm a junior mechanical engineering and design major.
We'll go to Omari now.
How y'all doing? My name is Ari Fernandez. I'm a junior design student with a minor in entrepreneurship.
Michelle.
Hi guys, my name is Michelle. I'm an electrical engineering sophomore currently.
McKenna.
Hello everyone, my name is McKenna and I'm a senior studying computer systems engineering.
Omari.
Hi, my name is Omri. I'm a senior, fingers crossed, cognitive science major.
I don't know if Philip is here yet. Is Philip here? All right, so if Philip's not here, okay. Hi guys, my name is Sharon. I am a computer science, cognitive science dual major. I'll be your host for tonight. So all the people who introduce themselves are on the panel, and we will get started. If you guys have any questions, just drop them in the chat. Let us know, and we'll answer them. We'll go through them. So let's first get started with our panel. Let's start with the major question. How is it to be a minority? How do you celebrate your culture here at a PWI, which is a predominantly white institute? Michelle, let's start off.
Yeah, sure. So I am a part of the club Alianza Latina and their step two, mostly just Alianza Latina. They do like different like multicultural or like Latino Americano events. I'm gonna say I know we've had like our like main thing would be like the Latin Heritage Month. And like that was a very nice time to like celebrate our culture. Like we had, I think, one time we had a salsa band. I think this time was also a salsa band, but it was really cool. I like it. They do a lot of events centered in like, um, like having Latin American like representation, or like being able to connect with members of the community as well, or like just uh, showcasing it to other students as well.
All right, let's popcorn it to Omari. Thank you, Michelle. I'm going to switch locations real quick, so that's why I have my camera off. But let's popcorn it to Omari.
I'm gonna assume you said Ari, and I'm just gonna go. So being a Black and Hispanic kid at PWI, when I first got to RPI, it was a little bit of a culture shock. I'm from the Bronx. It's predominantly Black and Hispanic there too, so it was a little difficult finding the right group of friends. I remember my first engineering class. I asked some dude for just some help. He was like, "Oh, you should have known this," and then ignored me for the rest of the class. So I was like, "Wow, this that set the tone for a little bit." So it allowed me to branch out and actually do some research on what kind of opportunities were at RPI, and that's when I found out about NSBE and SHEP, the National Society of Black Engineers, and the National Society of Professional Hispanic Engineers. Both of those communities have helped me a lot grow as a person, academically, physically, mentally, and those are just two of the groups that have really supported me while my time at RPI. So now I'll pass it to Philip.
Yeah, so I'm assuming I'm gonna answer the same question. Ari was actually in my
Okay, can you introduce yourself?
Just introduce yourself, Philip.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, my name's Philip. I'm mixed race between Korean and Jewish, and yeah, so I was in the same intro. Oh yeah, I'm also electrical and computer systems engineering major. I was in the IEA with Ori, and I don't know, it was pretty finding if you want to major in CS and find a study partner, CS is very collaborative. I've taken a few CS classes, and honestly, I think you will be fine. Like Ori said, there's a bunch of different resources out there. There's a bunch of different identity groups, and there's also office hours and a bunch of other places. Like, for instance, you'll take a class called data structures, and like literally you'll see like every single type of person inside the data structures office hours help each other out. So yeah, I think they'll sometimes there could be some bad eggs in RPI, but I feel like that's pretty rare. So you'll meet the right people. I wouldn't worry too much.
Okay, is this better? This is better for hearing. Okay, sorry. So I see Zoe in the chat. Sorry if I mispronounced your name, and thank you, McKenna, for answering. You want to major in computer science, and I understand it can be very collaborative. Is it hard to find partners to study? I think Philip just answered that. McKenna also added your answer in the chat. Um, as it was said before, it is not hard to, as Philip just said, it's not hard to find um, your group, especially with having office hours, the X Lounge, which is a multicultural lounge. Also, I want to talk more, following up on this question, I want to talk more about collaborating in your major. So, Nick, could you give some how you collaborate in your major? And then also another follow-up question, could you talk about how you show your culture through your academics?
Yeah. So about collaborating within my major, as Farron mentioned, the X Lounge is kind of a big spot where different cultures, it's a lot of the minority groups on campus go to kind of study, read, hang out. And so it's as simple as just saying, man, this class is annoying, or I'm taking this class, and everyone kind of chimes in saying, yeah, I understand. And so it's when you have like upperclassmen helping you, or even like sometimes I have underclassmen, like people who are like sophomores, have like, hey, I'm actually taking that class right now. Here's what I do, or here's like the method I use. So it's a lot of collaboration in those spaces. And then in classes, like I kind of see it as well. Like there would be some times where I'm struggling with something, or I see someone next to me struggling with something. And being at a PWI, it's not really often that we see faces like us. So it's kind of like a natural kind of gravitating towards and wanting to just have a mutual beneficial relationship of helping each other out. And to answer your follow-up question about how do I show my culture through kind of like my work and my studies, what I worked with, or I worked recently with a project that was to honor, I believe it was I forgot, unfortunately I forgot their name, but I it was to honor someone who did like a lot of Black achievements in Troy, and it was like a walking memorial, and we did that with the kind of design project on campus. And so working with them, kind of bringing the culture out and making sure that it was something that I wanted to see represented, because there's not a lot of things like that currently around campus, and I think it's pretty good, and I think it's really important for us to bring about our culture and make it known and make it loud.
Thank you, thank you. This is a question for all my panelists. Being at RPI, what was your favorite, maybe class or project? And can you talk about why it was your favorite, or how did you, like, what made it your favorite? Anybody can start.
I can answer this. I took a course called Electric Circuits, which is notorious for being really hard for a lot of the ECSE majors. So if you're electrical engineering or computer engineering. So my project was working with proximity sensors. So I got to work with an IR sensor, the IR receiver and emitter. And my idea was to create like a security system. So basically it would give off a sound based off whether or not you were in proximity to a certain space. And my idea was to eventually scale it so that it would be an actual like security system at a house. At first, I started off with just like LED lights and just having a basic like on and off. And then I was working towards, using like an amplifier to create the sound part of it. That was still a work in progress when I was towards the end of the course. but it was still fun, and I was able to challenge myself in a way in which I didn't think was possible, especially because I was very scared about working with the electric circuits class, not only because of how hard it was, it was presented to me, but also because I just never worked with circuits prior. And I was a CS major before switching to computer engineering. So a lot of my skill set was in programming, rather than the hardware side of things. But overall, it was really fun. And Professor Sawyer, really cool woman, really cool. She's really dope. One of the Black professors on campus. She's really understanding and chill. So it was amazing having that support system. I was always messaging her on WebEx with questions as well. So she was always helping out. And that's one of the more collaborative classes as well, where you work with a lot of other students, you ask them questions. So that was my experience and one of my favorites. So
Thank you, McKenna. We can come back to this question. I have 2 questions in the chat that I want to get to. We're gonna hear from Omari. So Omari is a senior. What made you guys pick RPI overall over all the other schools?
Well, I'm actually a transfer student, so my process is a little bit different from the majority of people, I'm guessing, that are here. I had a few options. I got my associates from Rockland Community College, and they had reciprocation agreements with a lot of other schools in terms of financial aid packages and things that you can do with your degree. RPI wasn't even really on my radar. It was a school that I'd heard about. I knew one person that went to the school from work, actually. He was on his away semester, and I don't know. I thought, why not? I'll try to apply. I've heard really good things about the school. The computer science program was, I mean, top 50 at the time, I think. So I decided to apply, and I was very surprised when I got in. So I told myself if I could convince them to give me more money, I would come to the school. So I kept emailing financial aid, telling them I was broke, I didn't have any money, an underrepresented student. Hopefully that would increase, I guess, their interest. And they gave me more money. So I decided I'd come here.
Thank you, Omari. Michelle, would you like to also answer this question?
Sure. I think this is the reason why we chose RPI, right? So for me, I live in Virginia and Indiana. I like go between the two. So I wanted to go somewhere that was like pretty far, but like not too far to the point where my family really comes to me. And plus I have family in Jersey, so that like ended up working out pretty well. And at the time when I was like applying, I applied as a physics major. So I came in and like the physics department was good from what I read because I didn't like tour the school at all. So I decided that based on that, like their department was pretty good. Um, and like they had different resources because I know like there are not a lot of in their physics department. So I know that they had like the women in physics, the women mentoring program, things that was like, oh, and then that I like would get into it, then like I would use those to like figure it out. But yeah, mine is mostly, and they also gave me a lot of yeah, they gave me a lot of money. So the money, the location, not being too far from where my family was, but like close enough, far enough where I felt independent, but close enough where like my family can be like, I could be like, oh, I got hit by a car, please come up, and then like they would just like come up, and it's easy.
Thank you so much, Michelle. Would anybody else like to answer this question before we move on to the next? All right, so Yasin said, even, I'm sorry if I mispronounced again, even if I am applying to programs such as physician and scientist program, will I have the opportunity and time availability to collaborate with facility and pupils with likewise interests and affinities in issues with marginalized populations? And so I think this is mostly in the research category. So would anybody like to talk about research? Sorry, guys, that's a door slamming. But anybody? Philip, go ahead.
So someone might be who is familiar with the physician scientist program, because if anyone's affiliated with that, they might have a better answer. But RPI is positioning itself as a research university, so they have strong research as of now. In order to answer your question fully, probably need a little bit more details. Like, are you doing like a undergraduate research project or something else? But like, I can just talk from my experience where I did undergraduate research projects for about like a year and a half to 2 years now. And if as long as you have an understanding advisor or who you're working with, you can definitely fit time in to do a lot of different things. I was able to juggle that. I'm currently like vice grand marshal right now, so it's like you'll have time to do these things. It just comes down to time management and sort of understanding like how to allocate your time. I will just say that coming into RPI, just try not to overload yourself too much in the beginning, but just try out a bunch of different things and what you want to help out with within issues within marginalized populations, because oftentimes you come in like wanting to help with something, but you really have to understand like what the layout is and where you can be helpful. Because as people on this panel may know, a lot of you might want to put in a lot of effort in the beginning, but you might get burned out. So sort of pace yourself. You have time, figure out like sort of issues you might want to help out with and get the lay of the room. But yes, I do think no matter what program you're doing at RPI, I think you'll be able to still, help with issues you care about.
Thank you, Philip. Maya, maybe, asked about sports. Now we do have all types of sports. We have intramural, D1 hockey and women's, D3 everything else, so basketball, football, rugby, and everything. And then we also have club sports, depending on your interest, and then also I guess how dedicated you are. You can join anyone. You can join a team here at RPI, or you can do a club sport. Is anybody on a club sport or on a team here at RPI, or does intramural? Anybody like to talk about that?
I can talk a little bit more about. Oh, sorry, Ari. I saw you unmuted too. About sports, at least intramural, and actually there's a very robust I guess pickup league, at least for soccer, and I'm sure some other sports too that are at other schools. So UAlbany has almost daily like pickup soccer. I know that the club running team, I think, or club cross country is very, very active. And also, yeah, intramural sports at the school. I mean, Monday nights, Tuesday nights, I have a game after this at 9, I have a game after this at 10. You can join, 4 or 5 different teams, and you actually get a very, very inclusive community from that as well. You don't necessarily have to be involved in sports to get to be active on campus, but if you wanted to, it's a great way to meet people. And I think most of the friends that I've made outside of the people I know in clubs are from sports, actually.
Ori, would you like to go next? I saw you unmuted.
Oh, well, I actually have a similar experience to Omri. I was doing intramural soccer for a while, so it was a lot of fun. It's low commitment if you just want to have a good time playing the sport. Then there's obviously the higher level divisions where more commitment time, more effort, but I think you gotta be pretty good to join those. So.
All right, thank you guys. I'm gonna skip down real quick and then come back. I see Alexa is asking about dance. We have, again, like Matthew said, thank you, Matthew. We have 8 different dance clubs here. So you have R-Pop, which is Rensselaer's K-pop team. They dance to K-pop style music. Then you have the dance team that does football and basketball games. And then you also have a bunch more cultural dance clubs. If you want to specify more what you're interested in, what type of dance that you're interested in, then we can talk more about that. Then you also have dance that does hip hop. We have a Miller Center that also offers classes. So even if you don't want to be on a team, you can still learn to do ballet, hip hop, jazz. So it just depends on what type of dance or style you're interested in. Going back up, I seen a question for Philip, and then I'm going to extend that question to the whole board. But Philip, could you lead us? Philip, can you give the audience your impression of RPI from the perspectives of your Korean heritage?
Yeah, sure. I was typing up a response. There is a there's a sizable Asian population on campus, so I feel like there's decent resources there. There is the RPI Chinese American Students Association, CASA. It's good got friends there. There's a Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers. It's like the pre-professional group like NISB or SHEP. So like there's these different organizations that will be able to, you'll be able to meet people of likewise heritage and sort of also develop professionally. I personally believe SACE is a really good opportunity for there. As for my Korean heritage, I haven't engaged much with the Korean Student Association on campus, but I know they're active as well. So I guess in summation, you'll find like all sorts of people with Asian heritage on campus, and you won't have, I don't think you'll have a problem meeting people in that regard and being able to explore, like sort of things you got come from your heritage and engage in activities, because these groups are pretty active, so you can always do events with them.
Let's pass it on to Rose.
For the talking about the culture and how that's expressed on campus, right? So I personally, I'm Jamaican and also African American, and so there's like a bunch of clubs that kind of encompass that culture. We have the Caribbean Student Association, which was kind of just revitalized, I believe, last year, and it's bringing a lot of events and like different culture talks and really creating conversation around the Caribbean. And also we have the Black Student Association, and who does a lot of things for kind of Black awareness on campus and just spreading different positivities and messages. And of course, we have like clubs like NESB and ASA, which is the African Student Association. All these clubs kind of create spaces where you can freely express who you are and talk about it and have shared experiences. I've been able to talk about I like getting beef patties or different foods from this spot, or people like it from another spot, and we can have little fun arguments about it and stuff like that. It's always just a good time, especially I know during February we have a big joint Black History Month celebration with all of the major Black orgs on campus. So it's always kind of nice to see the collaboration between different cultures. Just within like, of course, like there's others, but like just like the Black History Month collaboration we have, as Michelle mentioned before, the Latin Heritage Month. It's nice to see the collaboration there. So it's always something going on, and from what I see, at least, no matter what your background is, there's always a club or an organization there to back you and kind of represent you.
Would anybody else like to speak on this question? It's okay, guys. Take your time. No rush.
Yeah, I want to piggyback off of Rose just a little. There's also definitely opportunities for the multicultural orgs to come together. Like we recently had Friendsgiving, which was our Thanksgiving celebration where different minority orgs came together and we just all brought food and shared with each other. So it was a nice way to interact with each other, and we, as well as different collaboration events throughout the year. So there's definitely opportunities to not only connect with your own cultures, but to connect with other cultures as well and other minority students on campus. So definitely want to bring that up as well.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. I skipped the question, I believe, so I'm going to go back up just to make sure I hit. Okay, Zoe, how inclusive is Detroit towards minorities? I'm curious about how the local community engages with and embraces diversity, if at all. Let's see. I feel like the hardest part is picking someone to start with. So I'm gonna go back and start with.
I have a question. We have to be honest? Like, can we be honest?
Yeah.
No, or you can't be honest, man.
Yeah, cause I don't want to scare them off either. But I'll start because I have a lot of experiences with Troy natives. It's a mix, right? So when you go to like the farmers market, which is really big in Troy, you mentioned your RPI student, they love it. I've done projects where I've worked for Troy residents and I've like designed products for them. They've used it, they enjoyed it, which is really nice. And then I've had experiences where I've been yelled at. I've been to Walmart and I've seen some dude say, "Yo, I hate RPI. If you're from RPI, come here right now so I can smack you." I was just like, "Whoa, I'm put my ID away." So, things like that. It's like, but the biggest thing is I feel like you're gonna find that everywhere, especially if you go to school in New York, because New York people are crazy. So, yeah, you know what I mean?
To add on to what Ori was saying, like the most important that I want to pin out is that we're still in a city, guys. And I don't want like Ori was saying, this is like completely honest. We're still in a city. People still like do weird stuff. The same thing. I'm a tour guide and we get the same question a lot of the time where they ask us, is the city safe? You wouldn't go out in your city and flash $100 and be like, y'all, look, I got this on me. I got this on me. Don't come doing it here. Act like you still are with your parents. Act like how you are at home. Don't come trying to be off the hinges because you don't have your parents right with you. Because again, still do the same thing. Like Ori just said, he just said he wanted to threaten them. They do the same thing. I'm from Houston, so I'm gonna get to Henry's question in a quick second. Um, People say crazy stuff like that all the time. Just make sure you're safe. I want to talk about safety real quick. The buddy system. I don't care what gender, race, or anything you are. Buddy system. Do not go alone because again, we're in the city. We're with people who maybe feeling themselves, even smell it, and they do like stuff like this. So always go with a buddy just for safety, no matter, even if you're just walking 10 minutes. I'm not saying RPI is just that crazy that you're gonna like feel scared, but you always wanna walk with a buddy anywhere you go. And that's just my advice. Even if you do not choose to go to RPI, please always stay with a buddy just to make sure that like, cause things happens. It's RPI does its best to protect you. We have public safety 24/7, but it's kind of crazy a public safety walk around with you every step you take. That's weird. And so RPI can be able to give you that freedom. We also still trust that sometimes people are just weird like that. So thank you, Ori. Yes, you can be truthful. We want truthfulness. Going up real quick to.
Do you mind if I answer that question too?
Yeah. Oh,
all right?
Sure. Go ahead.
Thanks. All right. So, I mean, as a transfer student, I haven't had to live on campus at all. I spent my first 2 years here, downtown Troy. And actually, I didn't really engage in the campus community until my third year here. And I gotta say, it's in terms of being inclusive towards minorities, I almost exclusively hung out with minority people, communities, groups. When I was in downtown Troy, my neighbors in particular were great people, like Xavier and Tanisha, I think her name was. All right, I can't remember her name, but she, yeah, they introduced me to a lot of different places downtown, a lot of different communities downtown, a lot of different things to do. In terms of Troy being safe, generally, I think Troy is actually a decently safe place, decently safe city. I didn't know about the buddy system until I started hanging out on campus. So I used to go out by myself all the time. Never saw anything that was crazy. Well, I did see something at Walmart, but that is a little further away from Troy downtown anyway. And actually, I think the community downtown is generally receptive towards RPI students. I've gone to the doctor sometimes in Albany and Latham, and I've gotten different treatment after they find out that I am from RPI, because there's a sort of prestige around being a student from a school like this. But in terms of minority acceptance in Troy at large, it's actually it's very good, I think. And you can see that not only in the community itself in terms of the population, but also in terms of what's around. There are a lot of like different dance groups that you'll see downtown, like salsa dancing lessons. Also a lot of different food options, Thai, Mexican, a lot of Chinese places, like actually authentic Chinese places too. So I've enjoyed my time here as a minority student.
Thank you so much, Omri. I think we can all agree maybe Walmart's the problem, but I feel like Walmart's the problem anywhere. Okay, let's talk about Henry, going to your question. Question, if you're not from a snowless environment, how can you adjust to the snow and frigid weather? I never lived in a snowy climate. I'm gonna actually take this question real quick because all these people are from the snow places and I'm from the great state, best state of Texas, honestly. Um, it's not bad. I do say you do get used to it. It's layering. It's going to be your best friend. I still don't know how to layer. I honestly am not a big fan of layering. And get you a decent coat. And then always ask your minority buddies if it's going to be cold, because some people can take the cold better than other people. So if you ask somebody from New York and you see them pull out a big coat, you definitely go pull out a bigger coat. Just you'll get used to it and it's not bad. There are a lot of students here on campus, especially if you start joining Discords, who also tell you what to bring. If you want to connect with me after this, I also can send you a list of what you what you will and don't want to bring. But you'll be okay. It's not that bad. Would anybody like to add on to that?
I want to add that I saw you walking outside with a t-shirt yesterday on the way to class. So
I was walking fast. I was zooming. Okay, I have my
And the
car.
Crocs.
Okay, we're all calling each other out.
You
I don't
can't
like
forget
that.
about the Crocs. That's an integral. That's very much a part of your fit.
Right, excuse me. Calling your host out is kind of crazy. I see Philip has a question. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, yeah, I don't want to assume anything, but for me personally, I don't like dropping a lot of money on outerwear. So like I go to the Goodwill nearby on Hoosick. It's on the way to Walmart. You'll know about it. I have gotten tons of fleeces and sweaters and leather jackets and outerwear, things of that sort. Depends on your build and sort of like your gender as well. There might not be in your style, might not be something for everybody, but at least for me, I've been able to find stuff that's kept me pretty warm. So, you can always find like good clothing for decent around here.
Yeah, just add on real quickly. I'm a bigger dude, bigger than Philip, and I found jackets and sweaters there. So, I think they got something for everybody.
Thank you, Philip Ori. I see about the architect program. Thank you, Matthew, for answering that. Architecture is a 5-year program. Fun thing about architecture, I believe 70%, Matthew, maybe you want to correct me on that, but I believe 70% of architect students, 70 or 80% of architect students do go study abroad during their Arch Away. Our Arch Away is a semester where, since we do our semester during the summer, during one of our fall or spring semesters, you can either do research, internships, or study abroad. Some architect students go and study abroad, some architect students choose to study abroad. In Australia, you have Switzerland, Singapore, anywhere. You do not have to be an architect student to study abroad. A lot of students do it. And then you also have, it's a 5-year program. They have pinups and tests. So if you have like a specific question I make and answer, I'm in there 24/7 because like one of my closest friends is an architect major. So just let me know if you have any specific questions. I'm pretty sure Ori may be able to answer some too. Continuing, yes, oh, there was a question about fraternities and sororities. Give me 1 second, I gotta find it somewhere. Okay, could you guys talk more about fraternities and sorority scape of RPI? Are they competitive to get into, and are they prominent on campus? Okay, so I believe it is now 30% of RPI's campus is in Greek life. It's here on campus, but it's not the main thing. You kind of notice them like when they're wearing their letters, of course. They're big on community service, but I definitely can let Omri talk more about this because he is in a fraternity. So Omri, I'm gonna pass it off to you.
thank you, Farron. Yeah, so I'm in Chi Phi fraternity. In terms of campus presence, I think that we're pretty engaged in the community. Again, mostly focused on doing things for the community, like different fundraisers and different initiatives and projects. But I think you'll find that frat life, sorority life at this school is a little bit different than you'll see at almost any other school because we're all here to get a degree, and that's basically the main focus. Even when it came to rushing, when it came to pledging, my frat in particular, made it very apparent to me that school came first. It's the number one thing that we're here to do, and that's what it is. I think Greek life offers a bit, I don't say a bit more. It enables you to do a bit more in terms of your time here. I think in terms of you giving back, in terms of you being engaged. Obviously, there are social aspects that are beneficial. At the moment, there's a different kind of let's say vibe going on in Greek life because administration has made some changes, especially after COVID. But you do get a sense of community both from your Greek life and from the school and from whatever orgs you're interested in. I will say being part of Greek life doesn't preclude you from being friends with anybody else. I'm involved with SHEP, with NISB. I was there when CSA was kind of like rechartered, refounded. I'm friends with a whole bunch of other people. I mean, I'm here part of this panel, friends with Farron. And I still have things to do with my brothers as well. So you get the best of both worlds, I think, here in terms of fraternity and sorority life. And you do have other benefits in terms of like academics as well. I have my brothers to rely on. They're here to help me and support me. And if there's any other questions you have in terms of what it's like to rush or to pledge here, I can definitely answer that.
Just to answer Zoe's question again, we do have Pan Hill here. We have Omri, correct me if I'm wrong. Alpha Phi, right?
Okay, yeah.
Alpha Phi. You might have to take it from here.
You want me to start naming all of the?
It's 3 or 4. We also have our D9 also.
So
go ahead.
For Pan Hill,
Yeah.
Alpha Phi, AGD. Yeah, that's all I got.
And Phi Beta.
Oh,
Phi Beta Phi. Phi. I think it's Phi. Yeah. So we do have 3 here.
OPB. In terms,
4.
It's not Pan Hill. It's not Pan Hill, but I'm throwing out OPB because they always get a shout out from me.
Okay. True. And yes, we do have D9. We have 2 D9, which is we have the Alpha chapter, and then we also have Delta Sigma Theta chapter, the sorority. Did I miss anybody's questions going back up? I'm looking through. While I'm looking through questions, I want to ask our panel, what is something that you would like? Let's go back, actually. Let's take it back to high school. What is something you did in high school that helped you with your career at RPI? Nick, I haven't heard from you in a while, so I'm going to pick on you. And then I'm going to pass it to McKenna, popcorn it to McKenna after Nick.
All right. I actually want to answer. There's one question in the chat that I saw that Matthew did answer. There is not like an interior design program, but we do have the Design Innovation Society program. We do get to do a lot of product design and like sketching and design in general. I know a lot of people actually do go into doing some sort of interior design or designing like things like furniture or like rooms in different areas. But to answer your question about what from a high school kind of prepared me for this, doing like step programs. I know that like some high schools have that where they work in tandem with like a college or even like just the high school itself. But doing step programs or STEM programs really helped me get like what a college experience was like before I came to college. So like acclimating to like living in a dorm, because that's why I lived like for a summer. I think I was in like a dorm at I think at Delphi University on Long Island. And I just did stuff like that to kind of get acclimated to taking classes, making a schedule, walking from building to building, navigating a campus. Because although not all campuses are the same, it's still kind of, if it's your first time rushing from building to building and searching through something with your like 5 usually or 10 minutes between classes, it can get a little hectic.
McKenna?
So I agree in terms of programs, STEM programs. I was doing a lot of computer science courses outside of my high school classes after school. So I did this specific program. So I'm from the Bronx, New York, and there was this program called America on Tech. It used to be called New York on Tech. And they had a lot of courses involving web development. They gave us an intro to Swift. They had different like CS competitions in the program. And I started doing hackathons from high school. So just getting used to programming, getting a little bit of experience in competitive programming as well, definitely prepared me in terms of being able to think like a programmer, I would say, and sort of getting like a base, I would say base skills for being in CS and CSE. So that definitely helped. And then just using whatever free resources I could find, like Free Code Camp. If anyone is trying to get into CS, they have a lot of CS resources, W3 schools. I know Free Code Camp has a YouTube channel as well, and they have like 3-hour-long videos going into everything about game development, for example, or everything about AI. Yeah, Girls Who Code, Leak Code. So if you're a CS or you're trying to get into computer engineering, definitely getting started on that. I know data structures is the infamous, everyone hates data structures, everyone's scared about data structures, but it's not as intimidating once you like start getting that practice early. So that's my advice.
Would anybody else like to give some advice? Michelle, Ori, Omri, Philip.
I guess I would just say do your diligence, research, really think about what you're trying to do before you get into it. I know I didn't. I went in thinking I wanted to be a mechanical engineer, and I had the mindset of a designer. So my whole freshman year, I was doing mechanical engineering stuff, and I'm like, this is not what I want to do. Now I'm in design. Now I'm happier with my life. So if I just did that due diligence back in high school, I wouldn't have. I didn't waste the year, but I would have enjoyed that a lot more. So.
Yeah, I'll say to add on, I switched my major a few times. So, like, I think what would have been good is sort of like self-reflecting and understanding what you want to do, but you can't really understand what you want to do unless you actually do it. So, I guess what McKenna talked about trying to do a bunch of different programs, organizations, look online, look for resources, try to really explore because right now is your time to figure out what you want to do, who you want to be. It's not necessarily about how well you perform, but it's about getting to the point. Because you could be a star performer in something that you hate, or that you figure out that you hate, but it's too late. I've had people text me like, "Yo, I became an electrical engineer. Not to bash electrical, I am one, but I became an electrical engineer. And I hate it. I don't know why I'm here." And it's like they spent 4 years getting a degree, but they realize in their senior year, I don't want to do this degree anymore. So it's better to figure out now, while you still have the chance to sort of like what you want to do. Of course, after your undergrad degree, it's never too late. You can get a master's, PhD in something else. You can always switch careers, but it's always easier to do it early on.
I'm gonna piggyback off of Philip because I completely agree. I also think if you come in here with a set idea of something and you know you want to do it, then definitely pursue it, but definitely also be open-minded towards other things or other avenues that you might be interested in. You'll probably be forced to take more than one class that you hadn't necessarily anticipated on taking, and there's a good chance that you'll be surprised that you actually enjoy taking it as well. When I first came here, I graduated with CIS, Computer Information Systems Associates. I came here for computer science. One of the first classes I took was Intro to Cognitive Science, and I absolutely loved it. And I didn't take anything related to it for another like year, but I remember just being really interested in it. And I switched my major like it was over the summer, this past summer, which is kind of odd for a senior, but I liked it that much, and I realized that like it was so impactful to me that it just made sense for me to just go into that major. So I came in here with one idea, and like Philip, I switched my major, and I know that I'm definitely happier for it too.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Philip, I still thought you were Arrow. I guess I missed a few steps and I missed a few paths. Um, I see that I think I missed hearing. What are some of the off-campus fun and recreational activities that you and other students do? Michelle, would you like to take this one first?
Yeah, I can. So some things that are fun is to off campus. We're really close to downtown Troy. I know my dorm is like right there, like a very quick walk, like not even downtown Troy. There's a lot to do there. I know me and my friends, we will go to there's a baker, like a cafe. It's called Bard and Baker, and it's a board game cafe, and we love it. We go there quite a bit. We got like a little like card. Um, but yeah, like we play our board games there, like the Stardew Valley board game, and then like there are also a lot of food places as well. I don't know. I like food. So I just like eating food with them sometimes. But I also do like staying at home, like in my dorm. So like we have like our little fun girl times. You can also like depending on like how far you'd like to travel. We do have the bus system, like the CBTA, and like it's free with your RPI card, your RPI ID. So like an hour, if you really want to, you go to the mall where you can find plenty of cars. So yeah.
I also would like to say I've seen Michelle like 3 times at the boba place down under my my dorm. So she's also a bit avid for boba. Let's see. I see one right here. I skipped a few, so I'll go back to those. But I see one for Mia, for Ori, and I'm gonna say Nick because Nick is also a design major. Is there anyone knowledgeable about how the design program at RPI is? So feel free, Ori or Nick, take that one.
Yeah, so like Nick was mentioning before, the Design Innovation Society program at RPI focuses a lot on product and industrial design. So you go through the processes of the design process, identifying a problem, thinking about different ways it affects people, analyzing that, and then creating a solution, prototyping, and then all over again because the world is in a constant state of design. It has helped me a lot just because, like I said, I was in Mackey freshman year, hated my life, was ready to pack it up, get out of here, go back to the Bronx and work in the deli. But no, the design program was there and it helped me really reach out to the correct community, build the skills that I want to for my future career and things like that. If you have any specific questions, I can definitely answer that too.
Nick?
Yeah, I feel like Ori covered pretty much a lot of what I also like about the major. It's kind of a lot of people a lot of how the program was described to me was imagine like everything that you really thought mechanical engineering was when you were younger, a lot of like the creating things and like prototyping and making things. It's all of that fun, but like kind of right away. You get to like you're kind of instantly putting things together while in some of my like mechie classes, I didn't really start doing that until like my second or third year. And so it's a lot of like hands-on experience, a lot of kind of designing and getting to actually apply some of the engineering background that I have because I'm the dual major. So I find myself using both in tandem to kind of make really cool products for really cool people. And it kind of helps with internships because I can pitch that I have a project background as well as an engineering background.
Thank you so much, guys. I'm gonna go back up now because I'm kind of getting lost in the chat. So, what resources did you guys use in order to get jobs or internship, especially over the summer? I know McKenna, Ori, Nick, uh, Philip, don't remember, Omri. Yeah, someone can start off with. Let's start off with McKenna, and then we'll pop it around. Um, how did you find your say what internship you started, what internship you had over the summer, and then how did you find it and go about it?
Yes. So I have a different story for each internship that I got. So freshman year, I went to the Nesby Shep Career Fair. We have a yearly career fair here at RPI. It's 100% student run. Ori is actually one of the directors for next year. So if you guys choose to come, definitely talk to him. You know what I'm saying? If you want to help out or if you want to get more information about it. So I got an internship with Cigna through a Nesby Shep Career Fair for that year. That was in product management, and I had a choice if I wanted to do CS or product management, and I just chose product management to see how it was. I was just interested in it, and I realized I don't really want to do that, but it was a really cool experience though, and it's a really cool company. The next internship I got was a company in Maryland called Mahala Consulting. I got that from sitting in the X Lounge and just talking to another student who used to work there, and they put in a good word for me. And I just did an interview. I got through that interview. I think it was like 2 rounds, but it was really nice experience as well. And that was in software engineering. And then the last internship that I had was with Boeing. I was out in Seattle and I interned with their cybersecurity company. That internship I got at the NSB conference. That we have a national conference every year, and we'll travel to a different state and go to this huge convention center, and there'll be different like professional development workshops and interview booths, companies that are there to network with you. So it was a really cool opportunity. Definitely, those were my resources, but I know a lot of professors also reach out to students after class if you're doing like really well, or even if not, like they'll like put in the WebEx chat, say like, hey, looking for students to help out with this research this summer, apply, or like let me know if you're interested. We also have the school. I don't know which newsletters, but depending on your major, there's like newsletters, and each department usually sends out a bunch of opportunities for research opportunities and summer internship opportunities. Also LinkedIn, reaching out to a lot of companies on LinkedIn. I'm a part of NSBE, so we kind of always have to just find different resources for students. So in our Discord, I also put a bunch of different like companies that reach out to me as NSBE president, and I give everyone like, this is a internship opportunity that you have, et cetera, et cetera. So those are the different avenues that I use, and yeah.
So sorry to cut who's going to speak off next. I didn't realize we only have 8 minutes left. And no, it's nobody's fault. Definitely mine, because I wasn't watching time. I have a special talent to start rambling. So we're gonna try to stick to we're gonna try to get to the other questions, and then we can loop back around for any of the same questions that we might have not touched on. So I see Miguel asks, are any of the panel members part of the outdoor or adventure clubs? Or if you know this type of club know if this type of club is well represented by minorities at RPI. So as I seen further down, Matthew just said we do have outing club, and we also have we have outing club. There's kayaking crew. If you're asking if there's a lot of minorities on these club, I do believe there is a good amount. My roommate, she's a part of like PAL. She's also Asian. She's on the crew team. There's many parts. Don't feel like you can't find, if you're the only minority, don't feel like that you will stay the only minority. That's just, maybe you just need to go and kind of tell more people about this club, because some clubs, there's around 200 clubs here on campus. There's just so many. So some people might not just know about the club yet. And then you also have some of the minority clubs that do also go to different trips. Like you had SACE, which is Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers. Sorry, there's a lot of acronyms here that go and do hot air ballooning. But would anybody like to talk about outdoor clubs or outing, or just like different clubs represented that you guys have been in as minorities? Anyone?
I still touch on, of course,
Thanks again.
I'm not gonna lie, you cut me off earlier. I was just gonna say that I have a couple friends in the club, and they do a lot of rock climbing, hiking, things like that. And all my friends in it are Black, so I think they get represented well. That's all I was gonna say. Now your turn, homie.
Thank you, Ori. Thank you. So I've been kind of in and out of the outing club. Well, not in and out in terms of participation, but there are like member dues. So as long as you're an active member, you can take things out and stuff like that. It is a pretty active club though. People go out regularly. There are always trips planned. I would say like the most active members are not very representative of minority groups. However, anybody that I've brought to the club that is part of a minority group or is interested in the club has always been welcomed, included, and usually had a great time and ended up sticking around. So it kind of depends on what activity you're looking to do, because a lot of these groups are so expansive in terms of the activities that they offer that you might have more, let's say, like minority students that are engaged in one side of the club as opposed to the other side. Some people like going caving, some people like doing rock climbing, some people like kayaking, canoeing, some people like climbing a mountain and camping. So it really depends. And you can always find your friends there, and you can always bring your friends as well.
Thank you, Omari and Ori. I would like to touch on 2 questions real quick. Going back to the internship question, thank you, Philip. We have the CCPD here, which is the Career Center for Professional Development. I promise, guys, I'm still a tour guide. It's just, again, a lot of acronyms here. And they are the ones that help you with your technical interview. We also have a closet, and the closet is upstairs of you for your formal clubs at home, for what Ori's going to be planning next year, and that's being Shep. Career fair, so if you need some formal clothes, they also have the closet there. They help you with your technical interview, resume, and just interview practice in general. So that's also here. NSBE also does workshop. I know SACE also does, and Shep also does prep interviews, and they help you practice your pitch the week before you start the career fair actually happens. You have some fraternities and sororities that also help with career prep. And then I saw one about dorms. No, okay, so let's talk about dorms real quick. Dorming, we have 11 freshman dorms here on campus. the way they are, you're placed in them, I don't know, it depends, it's like May through June maybe, depending when that application comes open, your housing application, you can go to RPI rooms. It's a student run website that shows you from the perspective of students of their rooms. It depends on what you like, what's your preference, and you choose your top 5 best places that you want to stay. My favorite place, my top was Davidson or Sharp and Nugent, top 3. And then you go about getting roommates is also during that like portal, they have different options where you can look at other people's profiles. You can also go and meet during, like, you'll see in the summer, a lot of people from RPI start to get in touch with each other. Also, you can find it during Discord. And if you already know somebody, like the way Ori did it, he came in knowing people. So he was able to room with all the people that he knew. So it just depends on how you want to go about going for your housing. Is there any questions that we can maybe ask in 3 minutes? Is there anyone that we may have not touched on? All right, if there's no more last minute questions, I'm going through the chat one more time. If any other panels see any questions? I want to thank you, Matthew, and I think there's one more I can't. There's another counselor on here that I cannot find. Balin, I hope I pronounced your name right. That's on here. So thank you guys so much for coming. If I don't see any last minute questions, you are free to go. Again, thank you guys for so much for joining and participating. Thank you, panel, for coming. And yeah, we'll slowly start to fade off. We're here till 8, which is in 2 minutes.
Somebody asked, do we enjoy being students here?
I'm sorry, what did you say, Ori?
Somebody asked if we enjoy being students here, and I just want to say I love it so much. It's the best. I couldn't ask for any other school.
Answering honestly, I do love being a student here until my code breaks and now the whole world is gloomy. But when my code is working just fine, I do like being a student here.
To also shoot off an answer, I can say I do enjoy being a student here. There are times, of course, like it's a challenging school, it's tough, but especially when you find your people, you're in it together. Like I know I've been through Farron with some of the late nights when Farron's working on code or when I'm stressing over a project, but it's kind of like, you work with your people and those experiences kind of like they bond you. It's a really nice time.
Right, we have one more minute. Oh, is it easy or hard to connect? Honestly, a lot of people, I'm not gonna lie, they talk a lot. You can just sit in the X Lounge and just connect, find people. I love talking Ori, Nix, and Omri ear off. That's kind of how they got all here. I know all of the people on the panel, and I'm just like, hey, and just chat away. So I feel like it's very, very easy to connect here. How
Don't
does
be
everybody
afraid
else
to be
feel?
social.
Yeah.
A lot of times people here will like sit off into a corner and get into the habit of like doing stuff like that. I know there are times where I just don't want to be bothered, but if like it's not hard to connect as long as you just be social and reach out. A lot of times you'll find friendly people. There'll be the occasionally socially awkward person, but just reach out and like don't be afraid.
And even they have their own group.
Or you could attend the event, like the general body meeting for any of the clubs. That's also a good way to connect with other people as well.
All right, it is now 8. I see one last question, RPI versus RIT. RPI, of course, because I'm biased, but it just, again, do your research like it was said before. Make sure, I'm going to say RPI because I'm a student here, but make sure you find a school that fits right for you because, again, RPI may not be the right fit for some people, while our RIT might have what you're looking for. It's all about research. It is 8. I won't keep everybody here longer. Thank you guys for coming and see you guys next Saturday.